Hi, Mom. Go out and close the door.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock, so we're just going to start the meeting because there's a lot we have to cover. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. During this meeting, please take notes because we may not be able to hear everyone. We're going to give everyone, if you have something to say, you can speak for a minute, and then we'll see if anyone else has anything to say, and then I'll rotate back to you. The first thing on the agenda we're going to talk about is marketing. We're planning on having marketing get several masjids, Al Huda, Al Fajr, if anyone knows the masjids in Indianapolis, and the Musalla and Carmel. Somebody can make a list of these masjids and find out what's the best way to advertise at those masjids. I think at Al Fajr, the best way to, at Al Huda, the best way to market is to have just a poster board and on the easels. And at Al Fajr, the best way to market there is to have flyers. They have bulletin boards, so you just put something up on a bulletin board. And if we can just, someone can contact these different masjids and see what's the best way to advertise there. And then we have social media. We have to figure out how we're going to advertise on social media. So is there anyone I want to talk about any of those things under marketing? Is there
if we take on the job, do we have to design the posters or the flyers?
Yes, Sister. Yeah, I need to just make sure that whenever we have approval from the Al Huda, you can market it in the Al Huda, inshallah. After you get the approval, inshallah.
Inshallah. Sister Rosina, she's going to, she's taken charge of doing designing the flyers. So it'll just have to be sized for the poster board and the 8.5 by 11.
I'm not familiar with the masjids in Indiana. Is there anyone in the meeting who knows the names of the various masjids in Indiana?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot, but especially up by you guys. But like, so you have IMCA, you have the Guys Community Center, Plainfield, so it's now Al Taqwa, which also goes by MCC, Salam, Al Azhar, Sahaba. I mean, there's a lot.
Is it okay if you can type a list for us and post it into the group, and people can call these masjids to find out the best way to advertise?
Inshallah, yeah, today I can.
Jazakallah. All right, we're going to move on to the next.
I can take that task of contacting the masjids after I have a list of their names, inshallah.
Inshallah. So the venue, inshallah, we're having a meeting tonight with the board at Al Huda. They want to hear what we have planned for the singles event and how it's going to be conducted. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about also the budget proposal, how much it's going to cost, how we plan on carrying out this whole entire event. So we're very hopeful, inshallah, we'll be able to have it there. There are other community centers in the area. There's 2 up here in Noblesville. There's one, if you're familiar with Noblesville, is downtown. They charge $150 for a full day. There is a newer one here in Noblesville, and I'm not sure how much it costs. I was gonna go visit it next week, but it's they have a huge gymnasium, and they have other rooms. There's one in Fishers, but I think it's too small to hold this venue because we plan on having 60 plus people because it's 60 participants, and we're welcoming participants to bring their guardians with them. And I don't know if the one in Fishers will hold enough people. So if anyone else knows of any other community centers, there are venues held for weddings, but they're too expensive because they range at 1,000 plus per day. So if anyone else has any information on community centers available, can you just let us know? Does anyone want to talk about that before we go to the next item on the agenda? Okay, we'll go on to registration. The platform we're using for registration hopefully will be JotForm. I'm gonna share my screen real quick, and if you haven't seen JotForm before. So JotForm is a free platform. They have a lot of templates. They're free as long as you use less than 10 templates. And I just think it will look more professional when people are signing up for the event. So I had just started entering like the information that people have to enter, but I haven't formatted it yet. And they also have they have where you can enter payment. And the form can be several sheets. So if one sheet, they enter the demographics, the next sheet can show them the how many people are registered for the event, etc. Also on registration, there's going to be what we require for participants. Aside from registering, we are going to try to have a mandatory meeting that everyone has to either attend, or we're going to have it recorded and they can watch it at their own time. So if we're able to have it at El Huda, we're going to have, even if we don't have it there, we're going to try to get Imam Nasser to have a meeting to tell people about the rights, the rights of the man and the woman inside a marriage and premarital. And then we can
And responsibilities.
Right, the responsibilities inside a marriage. And then we'll be able to get this recorded so that people, if they're not able to attend the meeting, they can watch it on their own time. And then they'll have to, on the registration form, they'll have to check that they did watch the meeting, that they did read through the rules and regulations. And when they submit their profile, they'll also have a picture they attach to their profile, but when they submit their profile, they'll be able to see the demographics of who's currently signed up for the event. And I was trying to explain to the group, but you're not going to see the name of the people that are signed up or exactly who signed up. You just see a snapshot of how many people are signed up, how many people like speak Arabic, for instance, or Spanish, how many people are within a certain age range. And that will be updated each day so they can go on and check to see the demographics of the people that are registered. I don't know yet what to do if someone is registered that doesn't fall within the main demographics, because the event is going to be set up where there's going to be like 4 groups at the event. So if you fall under a certain demographics, you'll be inside that group, and like there'll be, like, for example, the groups would be segregated. I hate that word, but they'll be separated based on language, age, and their their sect, like if they're Sunni or Shia. And I think there's one more, I can't remember. But if there's someone that doesn't fall into any of that's way outside of this group, I'm not sure how we're going to deal with them. Maybe we'll refund them or something like that.
I have a comment on that. I mean, me personally, I don't think that's a good idea to have it segregated like that. I mean, age, yes, absolutely. But as for sex, I highly doubt that Shias are gonna come. I mean, it is a possibility, but I highly doubt it. And then also like the language thing, a lot of people are open to marrying people that are not in their culture too. Like that was a question that we had, and I think only one person in the whole and all of the applicants that we received said that she was not okay with marrying outside her culture. And a lot of people said that they wanted somebody who is open-minded and understands that culture is not part of Deen and would be open to a new culture. So I wouldn't limit them on, oh, you can only talk to the people who speak Arabic or Urdu or whatever, or have it as a choice. Like, do you prefer to stay within Arabic speakers? If not, then maybe you don't have to put them in this group. But if they do put it, then maybe you can put them in the group, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense. That's how we have the registration form set up. So we don't automatically put people inside these columns. They fill out their profile information, then there's a section under it, your match, and it says, it's going to say like if this is a hard line for you. And it's only if you
I think, I'm sorry to cut you off, but to my understanding, I thought we were only grouping like a table group according to age. And then what they will know, like within their group. I mean, if it's a hard line, it's not possible that we're going to find, I don't know, 6 or so
hard line,
all have the same hard lines, you know?
But under the profile, after they enter information, there's your match section, right? So they can choose if they want their match to speak a certain language, or they can choose does not matter. They can choose whether they want, the age range, or they can say it does not matter.
But we're grouping participants where they'll only be able to speak to different participants if they're within an age range, but we're not grouping them according to any criteria, meaning they will still be able to speak to other people that fall outside of their requirements, but they're still within the age. Yes, because it's impossible to match up everybody according to every requirement they want.
We're not matching.
Yes, Hawa, you can put together two choices that they like to you have to show each one sect. It's so important because they have different way in practicing Islam. So you have to show them, and they have the free to choose or not, but you have to show the sect, Sunni or Shia or whatever. It's very important than the culture. You have to put it in the registration form, in the profile, please.
Okay. The reason why
and that's not going to be an issue. Shias will not sign up for this if it's ran by a Sunni masjid. I know Shias, they will not, but absolutely put it. But I highly doubt you will have any Shias sign up.
Actually, Amanda, in Chicago, for some events we held in Chicago, we didn't have that issue. So I don't know how the situation is in Indiana, but we didn't have an issue like that. The Sunni and Shia Muslims would regularly attend each other's masjids.
Oh, no. This is a big issue here because a lot of masjids are very anti-Shia and very public about it. My ex-husband is Shia, and trust me, we had a lot of issues when we were getting married.
Yes, so it is so important to show the sect of the people.
Yeah, especially at Al-Huda. I'm not trying to trash talk, but they're very...
In general, it's so important for the one who gonna come to marry to know the sect of his wife or the one who wanna get married to.
And also,
Absolutely, that's a must, because I mean, I think most Sunni and Shia wouldn't intermingle in getting married.
Yes, they can, no problem.
No,
It's their
No, they
choice.
can't, but I don't think that most people would choose to do that. So that's why I think you need to make that clear.
Yeah, because the parents has to be involved also to know who's gonna come to get their daughters. They have to know the way they practice, the way they think, because they are different in some ways.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm happy you mentioned that, Sister Muntaha, because we're highly encouraging participants to bring their parents or guardians with them to the event. We think that is a critical part of our program that will help it to be successful.
Yes, that's right.
tell me what everyone thinks about language, because they can enter their, of course, they're going to enter their language on their profile, but when they enter your match section, since especially at Al Fajr event, there was a brother that came and he specifically wanted someone that spoke Arabic because he wanted Arabic and spoken in his household. So I think that it's important to have that as a choice to pick under your match, if that's what you want, and you want to be able to speak
I
with
think
people.
the problem with that is you're not going to get enough people that says that is a hard line for them in order to make a large enough group for them to meet enough participants. That's the problem I think I have. I mean, in that case, they would just have to know that some people are going to fall outside that parameter. Well, you're going to get them 2 or 3 people that are going to fit all of their hard criteria.
Yeah, also, like, you cannot control, like, who signs up. So, like, the majority for us, I mean, we had mostly, like, Desi and African, and then a few Arabs signed up. So, like, at that point, what would it be? Like, the 2 Arabs alone in a group, and then everybody else? It makes it very hard to organize if you're doing age and that. I mean, it's important to have on the questionnaire. Like we had on ours, are you okay with somebody other than a different ethnicity? But we didn't put like what language do you prefer or what ethnicity do you prefer your spouse to be? And we said on there, put any traits that you want your future wife to have or husband. And he's like, oh, I did. He did not. All he said is, I want her to be a good Muslim.
Oh yeah, because you checked this one. Yeah, I think that age range we can separate, but when we start to try to separate by these other criteria, it starts to seem, I just don't even want to go there.
Depending on how many participants we have, we can, if it's less than we plan, we can start at that just on age. But if it's more participants or we're able to put them match more of their categories, then I think we should go for it.
What about if you put second language, and like mother language and second language, we can put the 2 together. So if they speak little
yeah.
English, okay to
Yeah,
go
we
with that.
do have that. We do already have that on the profile.
Yeah. So
You
that's make it easy for regrouping the people.
You mean for their profile or for their match?
Yeah, for the match, because they know Arabic they fluently, but second is English. It's okay to be with English people who can speak English, so it's not that big deal.
Right.
But the one who know only Arabic, this will have problem, in matching him with other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Is somebody on here that was writing up the personality test?
That's me. When I searched for personality tests, there's no defining tests that can match people by personality. There's sites that tell you there's ways to kind of get an idea if you like the person, but it doesn't give you a definite answer. This is the person that takes the test that's best for you. The closest thing I got to that is our Muslim counselor gave me premarital counseling pamphlets, and they are very big, comprehensive manuals, and these are what will go into, inshallah, the packet that's emailed to the couples who decide they want to get to know each other. So once they make a decision based on this other criteria, that's demographic and then the highlight personality, which we are talking about. Based on that, if they decide they want to go ahead and get to know each other, then they get emailed these packets that helps them get to know each other's personality. So we're not putting the personality test before, we're putting it after they make a decision that they want to get to know each other. And that will be emailed to them because it's too big. We can't do it in person. They have to meet several times and talk about it. They're from psychological evaluations and counseling perspective.
Alhamdulillah, I think that's a good idea. The to send that in the packet. The personality test, there's the personality test that I was referring to was the one, it's a basic test that says like if you're introvert or extrovert. It's like a fun personality test where it just kind of shows like the character of the person. And where it's gonna have those, like, depending on what you are, it's gonna be a different color. And there was gonna have like a color dot on their name tag. So it'll just be more of a conversational starter among the participants. So it wasn't, this personality test for the event wasn't anything that was so complicated. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it is the test, how many questions to know if you're introvert or extrovert? Is it like 25 or?
I haven't looked at any of the personality tests yet. I don't know, like the, Ku, do you know like some of the things they rate you as?
Somebody, I'm trying to think if it was Rosina or who said that they already looked into this and they had like some questions that they already wrote out. I'm not sure if it was her, but somebody did text me. I just can't see it now since I'm my phone, but they did say that they already, whoever was supposed to be over it, that they had comprised some questions already for the personality test.
How can
So
I
I
ask
think
a
that's
question?
I think that's been taken care of.
Aisha?
Okay.
Yes, can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
This personality analysis that we are trying to do, are we trying to match people with similar personalities?
No, it's just a
Absolutely
conversation
not.
starter.
What's the point of it then?
It's just
It's fun.
It's just fun. It's just to see, oh, you're that kind of person. It's just for a conversational starter. It's just something to make the event more, I don't know, relaxing. Because these events are nervous, like for a lot of people, especially for like women. And so there's different things that we're going to have during the event to try to de-escalate that. For example, when the introductions that people usually have at these events where they all have to introduce themselves, we're not going to have that at all because that's very uncomfortable, especially for a woman to have all this attention on her. She doesn't like that. So we're not going to have things that make people focus on each other. We're going to have more group effort and we're going to just try to put things in there that are make people feel more relaxed. That's all, make it more fun. And that's what it
Thanks.
The demographics snapshot, do anyone need me to talk about that or you understand what that is? The privacy form, this is what I need help on because I need help on this because the event, the profile booklets they're going to be given in the event are very basic. They're just going to have, when people come into the event, they're going to be given a profile booklet. And this booklet would show the 10 people that are in their group. And it's just going to have their picture, their name, their occupation, and name, occupation, and age. And so these profile booklets are collected after the event. They're not able to take them with them. So I don't know what.
Excuse me, Paula, can I ask you something? I
Yeah.
thought that we had, when I had emailed you the profiles, the the pamphlet profile had more parts to it. It had how practicing are you of Islam, like do you pray, fast, the age, the nationality, the job, are you divorced, do you have kids, language spoken, and this was the part that was they would discuss when they're talking to each other. It was more than just 3 things because we want them to cover some of these basics, and if they're not in the pamphlet, they might not know these are important, like knowing if someone's divorced or has kids or language. Or so I'm wondering why you only have 3 points, because I thought we had decided on about 8 of them.
Yeah, so this is what I want to talk about, because I don't know how important it is to have that at an event like this. Like if that's something that you should be given afterwards, if you are inclined towards this person. Or
Well,
if
it's important because I put this through to our our brother Shakir and to our counselor, marriage counselor, who are both much more knowledgeable about things that are important and factoring in, and both of them agreed these are points that are important. So when I gave you this list, it was already passed through people who have more experience than us, and
okay.
they did think these were
It
important
doesn't seem
points.
it doesn't seem like it should be issued since they can't keep the booklets anyway. There's no problem with giving them that information. Right? I mean,
also
that's something that, because maybe I'll forget to, some of the participants may forget to cover it, but if they have it right there in a booklet in front of them, they'll say, oh yeah, this is important to me. I want to bring it up. So I think we should include all of that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not pre-typing this information, individual information, and filling it out and handing them the booklet, are you? Like you say, candidate B, you get a pamphlet that says candidate B is 40, he's American, he works as an engineer, he's divorced, he has 3 kids, he speaks English and Arabic. You're not
Exactly.
putting all that in the pamphlet, you're just putting I'm asking, are you just putting like the categories and they have to ask these questions, or are you putting the statistic of the person in front of you? Which are you doing?
Yeah, I think at first we were talking about 2 different things. So collecting profiles is different than a profile booklets they're going to be getting at their meeting. So now we're talking about the booklets they're giving at the meeting, right? How at the actual event?
Yes.
Is that what we're discussing?
Yes. And now that you mention that, I mean, perhaps all of this should be given in the profile booklet.
Yeah, because we don't want to keep too much information in the computer or the database. The database is just
Absolutely.
the beginning profile that I emailed you, and that I also emailed I texted everyone in the group, so everyone should have these profiles. These were passed through, as I mentioned, the 2 experts who have been doing this for years. So the first profile to decide which group they go in is 5 things. Do they have a high school diploma, or what kind of degree? What age are they? So education, age, nationality, and occupation. Those were the deciding factors that once you get the groups by age divided, subdivision is available if there's matches. Then the second profile, the highlight profile, when they actually are talking, and then they have these in front of them for each candidate to know, oh, I already know this information, and they can decide to engage that person and talk deeper, or say, no, this person divorced, has 3 kids, I don't want them to know a lot about me, I know I'm not interested, and they don't have to talk much more. So that's why we had these categories, and I can give it back to you in case you don't have it, but these were not negotiable categories because they went through Brother Shakir and also through our counselor, who are much more experienced than us. So I don't know if we miscommunicated, but I thought you had these down. So
I have these down, and this is fine. When they're given the profile booklet, it's fine if that all of this information is given as far as education, nationality, occupation, but we are not going to segregate people based on their nationality or based on their education. They
this
can,
is not for us to decide, excuse me, this is not for us to decide, it's for the individual to have this information and make that choice. But we need to ask these questions because they're factors for a lot of people. we're not discriminating against people, but we're making the information available to the candidates so they themselves can decide, I have a snapshot of the person in front of me, and I know that they have A, B, C, and D I'm interested in. So I might tell them a lot about myself in the 10 minutes I have. But if I know there's things in this snapshot,
No,
I don't
Netta,
know.
I understand what you're saying. That's why we have the snapshot before the event actually happens. They can see how many people attending the meeting are fall within their requirements. They can see how many people are how many people, depending on what education you have. They can see how many people have a master's degree, how many people are a specific nationality, how many people, you know, these different categories. That's why we're given this demographic snapshot, so they'll know. I don't want to go if there's only one of my requirements being met. So they'll have this before the actual event.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
this is what I'm
Say,
Well, also,
can I
Yeah.
can I say something really quick? So I think it's fine to have, sorry about her. I think it's fine to have a profile. However, if you're gonna like, I don't know how you guys are planning to do it, but I don't think it's a good idea to like, I don't know. Like, to me, this is, I feel like this is a big no, because so there was a guy and he had a kid at the event, and everybody previously had said they didn't want anybody with a kid. And subhanAllah, he's the one who had the most girls interested in him. So I don't think you should like limit them to who they talk to based off of like certain things, unless they specifically say no. We updated our flyer to say, or our questionnaire to say yes, no, or maybe, depends on the person. So if they put a maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think having it on the profile is okay, but if that's going to dictate who they talk to, then it's kind of honestly sad.
Oh no, Amanda, I think we're actually on the same page. I think we're on the same page here. The only thing that is going to determine grouping is age. These other things will be given to them so that they will have something to talk about. So in other words, your criterion is important, but we can't meet every person, all of their criteria. That's not possible. So they will know how many people is falling within their, that's what the profile is for. The demographics, when they look online after they've registered, they'll be able to see how many people fall into like your criteria. 2 participants have like 3 points in your criteria, you know, 7 have like, you know what I'm saying? So they'll know not everybody is meeting 100% of your criteria, but in other words, there may be something that I think is a hard line, but if they have like 4 out of my 5, I may be willing to negotiate that, you know, where that thing that I thought was so serious actually becomes not that serious to me. So we're only separating people according to ages, and everything else, we can't do that. It's impossible to get, you know, 10 people that's all going to fit everyone's criteria.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit thrown off because she said, oh, if they see this on their profile, they won't go and talk to them. But you're not even giving them a chance to meet somebody
No,
that
they're gonna be
maybe have a
grouped.
connection.
No, they're going to be grouped, but we're going to group them where we try to fit them to people that it's meeting as many of their criteria as we can. That's just all we're doing. But it's impossible really to do that. Mostly it's just grouping by age, and then they're having their booklets, and their booklets will let them know about the person, you know? That's why I think we should give them as much information on the profile in the booklets that they receive at the event. We have like 6 more minutes to this meeting, so.
No, it's not. It's only 40 minutes if it's 3 people. It goes to an hour. If it's
Okay.
not more.
Okay,
We
perfect.
can jump to the actual event on the meeting agenda. The event we're planning to have at the end of spring break, which is March 19th. And we need to see if people like the imam and if people that we want to participate in the event are available at that time, and if they're not like going to be on vacation or anything. We interests. So we have, well, how we plan to have the event is that people come in. There's a different sign-in table for the men and women. There's 15-minute intermittent before the event actually starts. we're going to start the event with just welcoming, and then there'll be a game, and then the imam will give a speech to where people are more relaxed, and he can kind of like tone it back down to now we're about to have the actual event. The game we plan on having during the event is Family Feud, if you've ever watched Family Feud before. And this game, how it's played is that there's going to be men against women. So men are going to be on one side, women is going to be on one side. And there is a subject they're going to have to, there's this, Ku, can you explain it better? Because you're working on that. Ku, are you there? All right, she's not there.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was getting one of the babies. What is it they were talking about?
Can you go over how the Family Feud game works real quick?
Yes, we're going to divide the men and women on separate sides of the room or wherever they are. And one person from the men and women go up to answer a fast question. So I don't know if I could bring it up. We'll say something like names. These are all just meant to be fun questions. An example of one is name a gift that newlywed couples might receive multiple times. And then whoever buzzes in first gets to answer the question. And they try to answer the question that gets the most votes, like the most answers, because 100 people are surveyed. I think most people understand Family Feud. 100 people are surveyed, and they try to answer the question that they think would be highest on the list. They may say like, dishes, but that comes third on the list, so the next person can steal, and they try to answer a question that comes higher. If the man or the woman gets it, gets the question, then the men will be able to play that round, or the women will be able to play that round, depending. And we're going to group it according to like the first 5 people, and then just move it up. So everyone will be involved. Was that clear?
So
if the women won that round, then the host would ask the first 5 women a question, and they have to try to answer it as a group. And then they would get the points for that round. If they're not able to answer it, then the men get to steal the question. They get to try to steal.
Okay. So what's the benefit of this game?
The benefit of this game is that it's the icebreaker. During these events, we try to have there's an icebreaker to help participants, because you're there and you want to see how people act, how they speak, how they carry themselves, how they hold their body language. This is one of those icebreakers so that we don't have to have them go around and say, my name is so-and-so and this is what I do. I don't know, something like that. It's a short game. It doesn't take that long, but it's an icebreaker. And after it finishes, that icebreaker, then inshallah, we're going to have the imam speak after that, or whoever, about the rules of the meeting, and to remind people to be respectful of each other, their language, their manners, remind them about how they should have their good manners at the meeting. And that will help tone it back down. So then they'll be able to meet into their group.
Okay, so this is what usually you do in these kind of meetings, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. So at this event, when everyone is after the imam speaks, and the women, they will take their seating at the tables first, and the men will rotate, and that's usually how it's done at all of these events. When we looked at Al Fajr's event, we several things we want to incorporate. We want to incorporate table topics, so they'll have a card on the table that are conversation starters to help them if they don't have anything to say. I did want to mention.
Oh yeah, and the different size tables. We saw the Al Fajr did that. That was very successful. It was nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. Also, the parents and guardians, they'll be seated inside the room, but we're planning on them see over to the side, like in the lounge area, where where parents would be able to communicate with each other. Because I don't know why we didn't think of this before, but we think this is what's going to make the event successful, the parents. And they will be able to, talk among themselves about their kids, and they're very influential. I mean, they know these things better than us.
I just want to share a story. When we went to Masjid Al Fajr's event, my daughter was sitting at a table with another girl who sat at the table she was sitting at. And her mother came over and asked her who was on her sheet. She showed her mother who she signed off, and her mother said, put this person down. So, and I thought that was very interesting because the mother can see something the daughter can't see. She was like, put him down. The girl has some reservations, but mom, and she said, no, put him down.
So I would just like to say that, I mean, it's great that you guys are putting a whole bunch of emphasis on the parents. However, our feedback was pretty much the opposite of what you're saying. So we had they had the opportunity of bringing their parents. There was only one girl who actually signed up and said that she was bringing her parents, but I mean, we had 2 parents show up, which was okay. But afterwards, the men expressed that having parents there was very awkward for them, which I'm kind of like, okay, like, and they understood that, the parents were invited and everything, but I mean, they just felt really awkward because not only are they in an environment where it's a little bit awkward to begin with, but then they have their parents around, and like one person even said, like, I put her down as a no because of the interaction I had with the parent. So it's kind of the opposite, at least for the men.
Actually, that's a good point for us because, I mean, if he didn't respond well to the parents, that's what we want to say to you, because a marriage is between families. It's not just between the couples. We really, it's so important.
But it's the first meeting. Yeah, but it's the first meeting. And the whole point of it is so that they're in a halal environment to where they don't feel that pressure. They don't feel awkward. It's just to see if they are compatible and if they would like to move the step forward, right?
Can I ask you a question? In your event, did you have ages separated, or you had everybody in one room?
So we didn't have that many different ages signed up. So, or I'm sorry, we had a range, but we didn't have it where we could categorize them too much because we didn't have as many people sign up as you guys are hoping to.
Okay, I
Oh,
just
go.
want to make one comment. When we have the younger age group from, let's say, I don't know what age we're starting it at, whether it's 18.
We're doing 18 to 35.
Okay, so 18 to 35, 18 to mid-20s, the brain's still developing. They're not yet fully mature. So to have parents as an option sitting at a separate area, they can see things and kind of be guardians from a distance. That may be
this is why we're separate events, right? Because
sorry, one moment. So maybe for the younger ages, that
I'm
might
just
be
looking at it, guys.
they might like, but the older ages may not appreciate that. 35 and above don't need their uncle and great grandma and everyone there, maybe,
Yeah, and this is the man who had told me this. He was 29, so I think he felt awkward. But at the same time, he had interest in the girl, and it wasn't the parent, right? It was just how the interaction went, and it was just very awkward for him being in this environment to where that. However, we did plan to do groups, but they kind of intersected with what the woman wanted an age, men wanted an age, and inshallah we'll fix that. We just needed to have like more people sign up to where we could actually like split it up even more.
I think both of you have good points, because depending on how many people sign up is how we'll be able to separate these groups. the 18 to 35 after visiting the Vin El Fajr. I think that age gap is too big.
Too big, yeah, it's too big.
And if we get enough participants, we could tone that down to be like 18 to 24 or something like
25,
that. Yeah.
So the biggest issue with the ages that I found, which we have switched the way our questionnaire was, because we just asked them what age range do you want your spouse to be in. The problem that we have is we have like older gentlemen who want younger ladies, and then we have younger ladies who want around the same age as them. So there wasn't much of a mixing point. And what we ended up having to do was just say, okay, well, if they have one match that's in their age range at least, then we can have them come, because some people, it was just like, oh, they're a year or two out of the age range that they wanted, and so maybe this is not such a big deal. But yeah, we did have like a few 18-year-olds and then a 35-year-old man, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be kind of awkward. But at the same time, the majority of our women were in their mid and late 20s. So the age thing is really hard to group. Honestly, that was the biggest issue that we had, but it also didn't help that we didn't have that many people signed up. So if you guys get, inshallah, you guys get more people signed up, then it won't be such an issue. It won't be so hard.
Sister Neda, were you referring that do you think people should be in separate, these age groups should be in separate rooms, or?
I think that it depends on how many people we have. Like she said, if we have a lot of participants, then I think that we should separate, because young people that are below 30 years old shouldn't be in the same group and area of the 40-some-year-olds. It's just too big of a gap. And if they decide later that they want something different, then by all means they can at a separate point mention that. But I think majority of people might agree that 25 or 30 and below should be in a separate area. Their brains are not fully developed. The topics they enjoy, their sense of humor is immature compared to 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Those are, and
Yeah.
I don't want to group 30 and above, but I'm saying like 30 to 45 or 40. We need to vote on this as a committee as well, because I think everyone has an opinion. So this isn't the big deal right now. I think the event itself, and then these details we can vote on in our WhatsApp, and everybody send their opinion. If that's
what I was referring to is, sorry, I was referring to the parents and guardians.
Oh, parents,
Like,
yeah.
if they're in the same room with everybody, should they
I mean,
only?
like, yeah,
I would say that maybe the second time they meet, that they should, because here's the thing, if you see a family, like you're saying, you see the background of the person, you see who they came with, if you feel you will not get along with them, then why get interested in the person and build a connection, and then get to the point of meeting the family and say, oh, it's not going to be a working match. This for young people is very important. I think older people already can judge character, culture a little better, but young people need to see the family that's sitting there with that person, not sitting directly with them, but at a distance.
So if it
that's my
makes it
opinion.
uncomfortable, if it makes it uncomfortable for the older group, for parents to be there, but they're necessary for the younger group, should they be in totally separate rooms? That's what I'm.
Oh, I see. The parents' separate room from the, maybe you
no,
could.
no. She
I
talking the
mean,
groups in separate rooms. The younger group, should we have them in a different room so that it won't be uncomfortable for the older participants?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, why should they be in one room? They're not having a chance to get married to them. So why do they need to be socializing in the same room? Or I think there need to be a partition or two separate rooms. Some things like also when you see these younger adults in a community, they're laughing and giggling and loud, and the older people get annoyed with that. And I think that's why age appropriate separate rooms is is a good idea. So it's my opinion, but everybody can vote on it.
They'll already be separated into groups, but like the gym, for example, is huge, and there already be groups separated in those groups in the gym. But the parents, like, maybe if they're where their lounge area is, maybe if it's next to the group that's the youngest, where
I mean, you're saying you're not going to limit who gets to know who. We're just having the whole age group, let's say 18 to 25 or 30. They all get to talk to each other. Afterwards, there's a break, right? Or before it. That's when they can like be with their parents and they can see, oh, this candidate came with these people. That background is interesting to me, or I don't think I could culturally, I don't know. It's not, I don't think we have to go into it so much right now. That's
okay. All right, really quick, each we're planning on it to be an 8-minute rotation. So the participants get to speak to each other from 8 to 10 minutes. And then there will be, the event is planning to go from 12 to 4 o'clock. So it's 4 hours. And for each participant to be able to speak to each person for 8 minutes, we need that amount of time. We're planning on the event starting again at the end of spring break. That means we have 3 weeks from today before we want the registration form to go up live, because we want people to have enough time to sign up for the event. And we want to give them.
Can I ask why you decided on that exact date? Why do we have to have it on that exact date? Is there a reason?
We thought this would probably be a good, we were thinking it would be in March, because February is too soon and we don't want to wait so long to have an event.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we have the programs and the speakers that we planned on available before this event. We had talked about that we're not just going to put everyone together to talk. They need to go through a mandatory program where they're attending Zooms or halaqas or speakers who are giving some introduction about main points in Islam from our imams and Muslim speakers. So I like that you have a goal, but I just think we also need to be mindful that we have to develop the content of the introduction before we plan the event and state a date. We also have to have the programs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, inshallah, because we have, as we mentioned, like there will be mandatory meeting that they have to participate in, or they have to attend. Sister Montel, were you about to say something?
Yeah, you just fix the date and you're supposed to wait until you have approval from all the things that you're talking about. So we need to wait a little bit. Don't fix the date yet.
Okay. The only problem I see with not fixing the date, like, if you want to wait till tonight, but if you want to wait till tonight.
Just to be clear, Howard, just to be clear, you should make clear, there is no fixed date. This date is just to let us know this is what we're shooting for. It's not a fixed date. There's no flyers going out saying that this event is going to happen at this time. It's a fixed date for the internal planning committee to start working on their project so we can get the event moving forward. That date can be changed to any time. It's really not important. What's important is that the planning committee has a date so that we can do our work. That's really the only importance of it.
Then you can make, like, say 7-8 weeks, for example, from now, something like this, until you finish all this preparation and be sure that the schedule is ready and everyone is ready. So then you can go and fix
that. That is correct, but we know from planning events that the human psyche is important. People want to know that it's going to actually happen, not just that they're just doing something aimlessly. Even if they have, a time period to get it done, they want to feel like this event is actually happening. So events can be pushed back, but they still need to be planned.
I know.
So that date really means nothing. I just kind of want y'all to, everyone to know that date is not in the least bit set in stone.
Yeah,
it's just so that we can. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think this date is so early, and Ramadan is coming also. So I think it need a lot of preparation. So let's say in the future or near future.
Yes,
For me,
for me, I feel that the date for March 19th, for me, yeah, that date can be changed, but only if it needs to be changed, because this planning committee, if they don't have a set date, because I'm already working on a schedule of when everything needs to be submitted and be completed. If we don't have a date that we're shooting towards, then nothing is going to be happening. Everyone's begun to wait. This planning committee was started last year in like September, and we're already at February.
I like your idea of setting some dates to aim for, and we will try. But my suggestion is we also put dates and aims and committees and individuals for what has to happen before. So maybe we can plan out also, okay, who's going to talk to the imams? Let's all make a list of who we want. We need to achieve this by in 2 weeks, and put deadlines for each of the things that come before it, so we can meet, inshallah, your goal. But if we just don't have dates for the things that come before it, it's hard to meet that one. You know what I mean? I just find that we don't have a lot of people who have time to work on the things before it. So we're all excited about the main thing happening, but we all need to start working on the things that come before it too, right? I think.
Yeah, the things that come before is the most important things, because that outlines the entire event. But the planning committee, they need these dates in order to be motivated to complete these tasks.
We have 3 minutes left to the meeting, and these dates
that was the end of the meeting.
we'll be able. Okay, well, I think we're saying that we're kind of saying the same thing, but just in different ways. These dates, we're going to be able to give those dates out to people, inshallah, after we have the meeting with the board tonight.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, everyone, for attending the meeting. I'm surprised there's so many people. I thought it was only going to be 4 people here. But I appreciate everyone being here and being.
I like your smile, Hawa.
Hmm?
I like your smile.
Oh, thank you. Smile.
Inshallah, you guys, really quick, if there's anything that we didn't cover that you had questions about, please just like text me or send a voice message in WhatsApp. And anything that you feel in particular that you want to have addressed to the board when we meet with them tonight, please voice message me or text me so that we can know, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you so much for working on this. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, inshallah, we'll see you tonight, Nada.
Inshallah. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.